Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. It's the Archerest Bowstring update review. Alright, so it's been just shy of 2 weeks since I've gotten two of these actually. The other one's still brand new in the package. And they are not pre-waxed. Anyways, so here's the scoop. I got this for two of my bows, but I only needed one right away for my PSE Nighthawk. These things, I'm going to say don't buy them. And I'm going to explain why. For example, the serving loop here, that's already breaking apart. There's the other end, doing the same damn thing. Oh yeah, and let's not forget the main serving. That's self-destructing too. And my fingers are nowhere near that. I shoot split finger. And yep, my finger's nowhere near that, and it's already ripping apart. This string will not seem to stop stretching for some reason, okay? Or at least settle for a longer period. I've left the bow strung only because, well, you're going to need to in order to get the string to stretch in, okay? Which you do need to stretch your stringing. You don't just zip it up and way you go, bye, let's go fire, you know, and then you go do that the next day, you know, and the next day, no, you got to keep an eye on your brace height, okay? That's a real important thing, and I kind of like mine at 7 1/4, you know, and so it's continually having to readjust. I can't tell you how many twists I ended up putting in this thing. It's just, I lost count. Okay, and this is a fast flight string, and it's not supposed to stretch as much as regular strings do, according to everything we read up on this thing. Now, this is also the 14 strander, which they say is good for 50 pounds. Now, these strings from this particular ad on Amazon are available 14, 12, and 16 strand. So 50 pound, yay, 40 pound for 12, and then 65 pounds for 16 strands. But you can get them for bows that have an AMO. So, you know, a little number on your limb that says, this is a 62 inch. That's your AMO, okay? So, 54, 60, 62, 64, 68, which gives you 50, 56, 58, 60, and 64. Now, nothing's ever made 100% equal. This one measured in at 58, which is fine. That's normal. And this was 58.5, which is fine because that's normal too. It just means you're going to have a few more twists, that's all. And 58.5 is actually a good way to go because some materials will stretch more than others. Okay? So, I did have a couple of days grace where it actually held at 7 1/4 just sitting on the rack, and that was fine. Okay? But here's a few things about this string, other than the fact we already know it's breaking down like a mother. Okay? For example, it stretches way too much too often. You're continually twisting and twisting and twisting. It's getting thinner and thinner and thinner, especially at the serving end, obviously, too, where it's self-destructing, but it's getting thinner in that the arrows, they knocked, I would say probably half decently at least. They got worse. Now they're just way too loose. And I'm talking pretty damn sloppy. Okay, that's a bad thing. And I'm not going to go out and buy 50 different types of nocks, spending hundreds of dollars just to find some nocks that might be happy for another week or two. Okay, and then they'll be too loose. There's a limit here, okay? So it turns out that although initially this seemed to be a decent little product for 16 bucks, does work, a little noisy, okay, but then again, I've never used a fast flight string before. Didn't know what to expect for noise. Don't really care. It's not like I'm hunting with that bow right now anyways. So, but you will have to figure out a way to shut them up. However, don't buy them because, you know, that's pretty thin. Like, that's really thin material. Let me show you something. I broke down because, you know, I like to be a cheapskate too, right? And I kind of confessed my sin to my guy at the archery place. And I'm like, you know, I kind of did actually. I need you to make me a new string, okay? Like, give me quality, right? So for 35 bucks, he built me a sweet string, okay? And I just strung this up, yesterday. and last night, in fact. And so I'm going to let it settle in for a couple days. And I've already had to literally remove twists from this one because he pre-twists them, pre-waxes them. But we have a much thicker serving on here and quality, right? And of course, he does the same thing for our limbs as well. Did a beautiful job. You know, the last time I had a string done up was when the archery place used to be called Jimbo's Archeries, and Jimbo made me a string, and that thing just never would die. It was good stuff. And this new guy that is now the archery place, because Jimbo's is gone now, he makes good quality strings too. Yeah, this is like, even doing this, that is so much quieter. This thing would be like massively loud in comparison, but it could be just because it's a fast flight. I don't really understand that much about fast flight versus a normal string, but he just makes the normal strings, right? Because if your bow's fast flight compatible, it's compatible with regular string too. And I kind of like the regular string, to be honest, but I figured, you know what? I'm going to try these for 16 bucks a crack. What can it hurt, right? And then this way, when I get some more money, I would get a quality one made anyhow, which I had to do a little bit prematurely. So I had to pony up the dough sooner. But this is so much nicer and thicker, and it locks the knock on the arrow really good. So anyways, guaranteed great string so far, at least. But, you know, it's like anything else. I'm going to have to run it, and I'm going to have to, well, right now I'm letting it stretch in. So I set the brace height at 7.5 last night, because it was a little bit higher. So I had to take out a bunch of twists. Got it at 7.5. It hasn't even budged yet. Okay, now later today when I get home from church, I'm going to go out and I'm going to rifle a bunch of arrows through that while I'm waiting for an Amazon parcel to show up. Okay, surprise for you guys. Big surprise for me. Hopefully it's exactly what I needed. Otherwise I'm in trouble. But anyways, so we're going to fire a bunch of arrows through that later today. Okay, so maybe we'll do a bit of a shooting video and see how it initially goes. However, these strings are getting packaged up and they are going back for a refund. That should not break down that fast. Like, I have not even unstrung the bow other than to continually readjust my brace height every probably 2 days. It did have a 3-day period where it didn't budge from 7.25, and I thought, we're good, let's shoot. Bing, 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 you know? And then, yep, it all of a sudden went and dropped again. I'm like, seriously? That quick? I've never seen a string do that fast. So we readjust again. But then we started to notice too that serving is splitting apart where my fingers aren't even anywhere near it. And then when I took the string off, I inspected the loops because I'm like, okay, well, if that's breaking down, what else is going on? Yep, loops are doing it too. And it's never a good sign when your loops are starting to break down and show the inner core. So, not good. So, at $16 a piece, I don't care. Don't buy these things, all right? Even if you get the correct length, yes, they will work. How long? Who knows? But for 35 bucks I spent on that string, the one that Jimbo made me years ago never died. And I actually sold that bow, and I can't tell you how many rounds I shot through that bow, but it was a lot, okay? And not even a hiccup in that string, okay? I expect the same results here. And, you know, if I do have any problems, I'll definitely let them know. But I'm not expecting to have any problems at all. And we never do. But we'll see how that goes. But I figure for $35, custom handmade string, that's kind of worth spending the extra money. I only got 2 of these because I have 2 recurve bows to feed. But the string on my other recurve is still doing fine. So this was kind of like, this was my backup string just in case. So I just used the one for now. And it hasn't even survived a full 14 days on yet. So that's not a good sign to me, okay? You can save money on Amazon. Yes, you can. I certainly will guarantee you can spend less and get more for your money on some things, but other things you get what you pay for. And if you're going to be a cheapskate on your string, I don't care if it's flash flight, I don't care if it's Flemish twist, whatever the hell it is, you got to watch things, right? Now, the other review guy that's up here on this particular ad, along with mine, he actually said that it works good, which I agree. It works good. Now, he has not updated his review, so we don't know anything more. But when a string was knocking my arrows for the first few days, okay, even within the first week it was knocking them not too bad. They're decent, okay, to going to swimming like up and down like crazy because it's getting thinner and thinner and that's splitting apart. That's a pretty good sign that it's garbage. Okay, so we don't want that. And we can't afford to go out and spend $500 on 60 different types of friggin' knocks to find a perfect fitting one for that thinness that is now there, which is probably going to keep getting thinner over time. Okay, I mean, I know a string will always stretch, okay, to a certain point, but there's a point where it goes from the initial full amount to minuscule amounts. And this thing is still on kind of like the in-between train. It hasn't quite finished gotten to the stoplight yet, you know what I mean? Like, hey, yield, you know what I mean? The yellow thing, yield a little bit, would you? And it's just getting thinner and thinner, more and more twists. It's getting stupidity. And it gets kind of noisy, too, the more twists you seem to put into these things. But that's where we're at with it. So I'm sending these things back tomorrow morning in the mail. They can have them. I'm going to get my money back, and I'll spend my money on something a little bit more worthwhile, okay? But I paid $35 for that string to get handmade for me at the archery shop in Corbeil. So go see the guy. He is awesome, okay? Anyways, but yeah, these are not recommended. I don't recommend these things. I don't think they will snap on you, but then again, they're splitting at the serving on the loops. Enough rubbing back and forth, and yeah, that could destroy your bow, especially if you've got a more expensive bow. Like my Nighthawk is $220 to replace if this snapped, right? And I'm not saying even a quality string couldn't snap. I mean, anything's possible, right? But my last string, it was probably a factory one. I have no idea. But it was so worn at the loop end was the only problem. That it's kind of like, you should really consider a new string there, Kevy. And I'm like, yeah, I'm working on it. And then I went and bought these, being a cheapskate. And then I had to, what do they call that? Eat crow? I'm so sorry. I need a string, please. And I did a very bad sin. I did this. So anyways, but you learn. That's the thing. And I'm still learning. You're still learning. We never stop learning. Okay? So, I'll let you guys know how my custom-made string goes over time. I'm not even going to do an initial review on it. I'm just going to shoot that thing for the next few weeks. I'm going to see how it stretches. It's set at 7.5 brace height right now. And let's see how it goes. And I'll let you know for sure. I got to put a knocking point on it later too. Get that set back up. But yeah, I'll definitely keep you informed on the custom string. But I can tell you this much. The last one I had done, which like I said was Jimbo's archery at the time, that thing never died. It never, and I had a lot of rounds through it. I don't know exactly how long I had it or how many shots. I mean, it was a lot of shots through that thing. And I sold the bow, and that string was still in pretty much new condition. I mean, there was no signs of wear on it, you know what I mean? It was well made, so, and anyways, we'll let you know how the new one goes, but that's the end of these ones. And like I said, they're going back in the mail tomorrow morning. I've already done my trigger of my refund because they're not good, okay? So don't buy them. Be careful. There are more expensive strings on Amazon. I can't say anything about them because I don't know. But I think that if you're smart and you care about your equipment, just go to an archery place that actually makes custom-made strings they don't cost that much. That was $35. That was like amazing. I was like, wow. And I think that's about what I paid Jimbo actually originally when it was Jimbo's archery years ago. I got about the same price I paid for my last one. And like I said, great strings for being handmade. So, you know, anyway, there you go. That's what we got. See ya.